Okay. So welcome all of you to session 1 of the RPA Summer School, which is Kick Off Your Way in RPA. And during this session, we're going to briefly cover an introduction to RPA and the first things about our main software for citizen developers, which is StudioX, which is a no-code platform which everyone can use to start their journey in automation. This is the team we have with us today. So your trainers and our speakers will be Nicolas and Han, which are two of the best UiPath MVPs, senior software developer at BASF, Nicolas, and the senior consultant at Machine Automation, Han. From UiPath, you have me, which I'm the regional community manager for EMEA, and Vibor, who is our regional community manager for APAC. And you can place questions at any time in chat. We are going to try to answer you, both questions related to the RPA Summer School, to the sessions, to the UiPath community platform, and also later if you have StudioX related questions. We're very glad to have you in such great numbers with us today, and you're still growing, I see. So what we're going to do today is go a bit through the program and sessions description, session duration and attendance restrictions, interaction and engagement during the session, follow up and stay connected. And now I'm going to show you, like, this is the program, of course, I think you already know the program page. This is the very first session of the program. The first module has 3 weeks. It has 4 sessions. If you just registered for the first one, please remember to go on the program page and join and register the other 3 sessions to have the content available if you want it in the future, or to be able to join live. The program goes across 2 time zones. So this is the first time zone, EDT. The second session will be on BST. And then in the second module, we're going to try to reverse the time zones. The second module is starting on August 24th, and then you're going to have inversed the live sessions on BST and EDT. So just remember, guys, to go and RSVP to the other 3 sessions to have access to the content. We're going to have the recordings uploaded after each session. You also will have for each session some useful links within the session. This is a brief description of what we will go through here. And now going back to our session today, because of the high number, you are all put on mute in the first part of the session, and I apologize for that, but we can still interact on chat. At the Q&A, I will unmute you. Of course, being such a high number, we probably won't have the whole time to ask so many questions. But we will have alternatives in the end for you for interaction and for asking questions and for us providing the answers. You will see that our community can provide you with answers, and we have the tools to do that. We hope you're also here today to have a bit of fun, because we prepared the quiz for you and some prizes on behalf of UiPath. So we will have a Mentimeter quiz in this session to check your knowledge in the middle of the session and at the end, and we will award 3 prizes for that Menti quiz. You can share your LinkedIn profiles in the chat if you want to do some networking. You're welcome to do that. We will do that too. And you can contact us at any time at community.uipath.com. Write us an email. So going forward, I will hand it over to Nicolas now to officially start the session and the content. And welcome once again. We're very glad to have you here. Nicolas, you have the stage.
Hey everyone, how are you? So are you going to start recording, Christina?
It's already recording.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Okay, so, well, Christina already mentioned you. I think there's still people in the waiting room. That's from what I see. Okay, so basically we're gonna start talking about what is RPA, but before going into this introduction, we're gonna see a video about the story of work. So here we have the story of work. Just let me check if I share with audio, just to make sure, share sound. 3, 1. Perfect. Just let me know if you don't hear anything.
This is the story of work. It started a long time ago, on a Monday, which was handy. For as long as history itself, the humans needed to work. They wanted to work, to grow things and create things and build things, to see what they were capable of, to stand at day's end and say, I did that, which felt pretty good. So they worked more, built more, and created more, and traveled to far-off places. And then someone suggested submitting expense reports for those far-off places. His name was Glenn, and he was a jackass. Anyway, the people kept getting better at work. They built better tools to work more efficiently. They built amazing machines to work faster. They built computers to work smarter. But still, they couldn't do enough work. Because during all that work to do more work, they had created work, and not the good kind. Not the let's sit around and come up with ideas kind. Not the I can't wait to get to work so I can jump into a new project kind. The crap kind. The drudge and data and admin and the damned expense reports. So the humans had to work more at work they didn't like. That made them robotic. That didn't inspire. They had to postpone vacations. They had to miss family dinners. They were pissed. And then something happened. Someone had a really amazing idea. They came into work and said, stop working and start working. The humans thought she might have had wine at lunch, so she showed them a way to put the fun back into work, to waste less time doing the things they hated, to make more efficient the big tasks, to stop making the humans act like robots and start teaching the robots to learn the humans. Not to replace people, but to free them. Even Glenn. Robots that learn you. Imagine the potential, like starting over, to help us remember again that work only really works when we're happy at it.
Well, let's go back into the presentation. So who hasn't felt that way during work, right? We have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of things.
Have you ever wondered what robotic process
Another video just started. So we all have felt that way sometime at work because we have those repetitive tasks that we don't want to do. So that is why RPA came into existence. So RPA is a technology that would allow us and a software program, to mimic human actions while also interacting with other computer programs, right? So that software can automate keyboard inputs, mouse movements, clicks, reading a computer screen. These are the basic activities that we can automate with RPA, right? But before going forward with that, we need to know what RPA is not, so we don't have any misconceptions about it. RPA is not a humanoid robot. It's not a replacement for humans. And it's not just another cost-saving method, right? It's much more than that. It's about automating repetitive, time-consuming tasks and processes so we can get better efficiency and time utilization. But we mentioned right now what is RPA and what is not, but let's see what software robots can do. From now on, we are gonna talk about software robots, just mentioned robots for simplicity, okay? So what can robots do? They can log into applications like we do, let's say, I don't know, SAP, Salesforce, or any other application that you use on your daily jobs. They can work with files, folders, copy and paste data between applications. They can read emails and extract the attachments and actually read those attachments, like, I don't know, let's say a PDF, an Excel, text document, or any other type of documents that you may have. But robots also can perform complex calculations and decision makings based, of course, on data and predefined rules that we need to give them. And for example, one scenario that we can think about this is banking reconciliation, for example. Last but not least, let's not forget robot can work 24/7 every day of the year. So that's a huge advantage compared to us persons that we were like 8-hour shifts on a 5-day weeks. So having robots allows us to actually work a lot more. But what are the main benefits of actually using or adopting RPA in a business? We have increased execution speed because robots work faster than us. We have enhanced accuracy because robots don't tend to make the same mistakes that we do, for example, like typos. We have improved regulatory compliance because process with RPA allows us to actually leave all the trail of the process that and everything that has been done until now. We have reduced cost of process execution, and this is because robots are more efficient and faster, and they have an optimal use of all the resources that are involved in a process. So that lets us use them in a better way. And we have easier scaling. Let's say that a process needs to be done, I don't know, 10 times more some month than any other month. It's easier to put 10 more robots than to train 10 more persons to do the same job in a shorter time. Like, we have no problem on saying we have a process that it's done by one robot and we want to do it on 10 robots. We just need the computer machines to actually do all the processes, but we don't need to actually train them again. That's why it's a lot easier to scale RPA. But not every process is best suited for RPA. We all are gonna hear that we can automate everything and those kind of things, but that's actually not true if we don't wanna be involved in huge and really extensive projects. If we wanna do things the right way, we are gonna select process based on 3 simple things, at least from a first perspective. We're gonna find processes that are repetitive. So let's say a process we need to make some data input like 200 times a day, then it's a repetitive process that we can do. But for example, let's say we have a process that we need to do those 200 things, but we do it only once in a year, then we can automate that process. But compared to the one that we do 200 times a day, it's probably best if we automate the first one. Then we talk about rule-based process. We cannot automate a process if we cannot define the rules and the things that we need to tell the process to do, right? So for a process to be able to be automated, we need to be able to mention the robot, okay, if you have this information, you need to do this. If you have another thing, you need to do that. Let's say, for example, again, with the banking reconciliation. If you don't have rules to actually do the reconciliation and you do it mostly because you know the data that you're handling, then you cannot automate that because you need to actually specify to the robot what it needs to do. And then we talk about structure. If the process are well-defined, if we have a structure, if every iteration of the process is handled in a way that we already know what to do, then it's a good fit for an automation project. But basically, the consistency and accuracy of the robots are greater when we select processes that are based on these 3 patterns, right? Han, if you want to present this part.
Sure. Thank you, Nicholas. So with RPA have been around for a couple of years, and especially UiPath have been in the business for more than 15 years, several industries already adopted RPA technology in the organization. And I believe healthcare and energy industry are the pioneer in adopting this technology. So regardless which industry you're coming from, the department that you see on the slide right here are very common for any organization. And from what Nicholas just described before, the ideal candidate for the automation process are the ones that are repetitive, rule-based, and deal with structured data. So it should not come to a surprise that finance and accounting are usually the first department in the organization to have process to be automated first. So one of the most common one could be the account reconciliation, where the robot will help the business user come into the system, download the report, doing the calculation, and then let the business user know whether the balance are equal or not. So instead of having going to go through all the manual steps, now the business user can focus on making the decision based on the value that output by the automation. Another common process for automation is the sale order creation process. So usually you would receive a request for a sale order or the work order in email or in some kind of ERP system, and the robot will extract the data required to create the work order or the sale order from the input data, either an email or Excel file or a report from ERP system. And then it will navigate through all of the steps to create the sale order or the work order and inform the user when it finishes processing these data. So we have some clients that work in the construction industry where they have around 300 stores across the US. So every day they receive like hundreds of sale order. And for construction sector, usually the sale order will, the customer will have a credit, and the company needs to check the credit before they approve or disapprove the order. So by using RPA, the company were able to increase the speed of approving or disapproving the customer credit and make the sale order turnover higher. So those are some of the ways RPA helping the business.
So we have a video to present about a process for HR. So let's just go into that.
Hi, my name is Alex Sands, and I'm here to show you real RPA in action. My work in pre-sales involves traveling to different clients and demonstrating the capabilities of automation on different types of processes. Today, I want to show you the impact of RPA on a core function in every organization that affects all of us, the Human Resources Department. While it's known by many names, people operations, human capital, employee experience, you name it, I have yet to encounter a company without HR. Recruitment, onboarding, establishing employee benefits, and organizing performance reviews are some of the main responsibilities of any HR employee, not to mention all of the paperwork and admin duties that come along with them. In fact, at some larger companies, entire teams are dedicated exclusively towards these kind of tasks. Consider the process of pre-boarding and onboarding new employees. There can be a ton of documents to be prepared, filled in, signed, and sent to other departments or public institutions throughout the process. In other words, a lot of work that no one really wants to do. Here's how a robot could free up some time. It all starts with the ID of a new hire, which could be received via email or handed over and scanned. Either way, with our new automated process, the only thing that an HR rep needs to do is place the digital ID document in a designated folder. The HR rep then chooses the appropriate sub-process, kicking off the robot and, in our case, reading the ID. This is done quickly in this example. However, the speed and accuracy may depend on the quality of the ID scan. Reading an image may seem simple for humans, but for robots to be able to do the same, they need to make use of a special technology, which is known as optical character recognition, or OCR for short. Once the document is read by the robot, the HR rep has the opportunity to validate the collected data, adjust it, and add further information, such as employee hiring date. Then, watch what happens. The robot starts to fill in the designated fields in the document with all the data that's been gathered. Note how this is done almost instantly and without any errors. Meanwhile, the HR rep can now focus instead on establishing a personal connection with the new hire, thus providing a more enjoyable onboarding experience for all. In short, the HR rep gets to do valuable work, while the robot takes care of all the tedious activities. Once the documents are finalized, the robot is then instructed to send them via email to a different department and to store them in a secure shared drive location. There is no need to check the robot's work at this point because, again, the robot's work error-free. There's a good chance you've experienced some version of this process as a new employee. The difference now is that with RPA, it can be done faster and with 0 errors. Of course, in order to truly understand how this automation was built, you'll need to learn more about the UiPath Platform suite and some of the concepts and technologies used. So, stay tuned.
Okay, so now before going into introducing UiPath and UiPath StudioX, that is the tool that you are going to be using on the next sessions. We're going to go to Menti for a couple of questions. So we have now, I think Christina was going to paste the link, but if not, I can paste it.
I will share the link, Nicholas. So you have,
Okay,
guys, go to menti.com. This is the link. I gave it in chat now. And we will wait for you to join. The code to join is 79566530. This is the code. So just copy paste them from chat and go to Menti. Join there. Okay, so look at all the big families gathering up now. We have penguins, we have the robots, we have the burgers. Everyone is there. Come on, we're going to wait for more of you to join. I see you guys are also placing like questions about automating good processes for automation in chat. We have another MVP with us, Tracy Dixon. She will answer those questions for you in chat. So Tracy, thank you for being here with us. Okay, I see.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank you. People are still joining the Menti. We'll wait a bit more. And then we'll start shooting up the first question.
Tracy can answer everything except the questions from the Menti.
Yeah, Menti is just for you guys. It's okay. We hope you got everything until now, but if you want, we can go a bit backwards and share some more examples. Talk a bit more on the processes to automate. Tell us if you would like that. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we can give it like 5 more seconds and then we start the quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, let's place the first question now. So guys, pay attention because you need to be fast as well as right when answering. Menti goes on how fast you answer and how correct the answer is.
And we have 20 seconds.
Okay, so what human-computer interactions can be easily automated? Is it mouse movement and clicks, checking correct answers, or drawing a unicorn in Paint program? 7 more seconds to answer that. Yes, most of you got it right. And let me comment.
So for that, as mouse movement and clicks and actually typing in the keyboard are the 3 most basic things that we can automate with RPA. And we can actually not check correct answers unless we tell the robot which are the correct answers. So that's kind of a little bit tricky response because the robot has no actual intelligence besides what we tell them to do. So if we just have questions like the one that we just shared, and we have here Menti, the robot will not know which is the correct answer unless we already told them that the answer for this question is the first one. Okay, so basically, if you check into what you do in your day-to-day jobs, like with the computer, of course, right? It's moving the mouse, doing clicks, typing, and actually reading contents from your screen, say desktop applications, say it's PDF, Excel, or even a web browser. everything that we do with computers can be actually set up into a sequence of those kind of activities, right? And drawing a unicorn in Paint program, I think there are some artificial intelligence right now that are painting strange but great things, but no RPA robots for now, at least. So we're gonna go for second question, and then we're gonna continue, and we have another question for the end.
Okay, guys, pay attention now for the second question. This is the score after the first question. No. So we have yeah,
200 people on the first level.
Sunny
is the fastest.
And MM are leading the leaderboard. Good.
Let's go. Just remember, it's not only giving the correct answer, but it also points for who is the fastest one in responding. But you need to actually select the correct answer. So we go for question 2.
Okay, guys, pay attention and be fast. So what types of processes would be hard or impossible to automate? Repetitive, rule-based, or involving decision-making levels? Which ones would be hard or impossible to automate? 10 more seconds. Remember, this is the exception answer. Great. Great answer.
I'm guessing that the ones who select a repetitive or rule-based probably missed the part of that we actually wanted to select the wrong answer, what would be hard to automate, not easy to automate. And as we mentioned, the processes that are easier to automate are the ones that are repetitive, rule-based, and structured. And the ones that involve decision-making are impossible to automate fully. Of course, we can also automate things and let the robot ask us some questions, like when the robot doesn't know what to do, it can ask us, like a person or human, to actually decide and make that decision to complete the process part. But if we talk about fully automating a process, the robot cannot make decisions by themselves. Like, we must tell them everything that they need to do. That's why we sometimes say that robots do not make mistakes. It's kind of a tricky phrase, but that's because the robots always do what we tell them to do, right? So if, I don't know, they had to wait for a screen and the screen freezes and the robot got stuck, it's not a problem from the robot. It's because we didn't tell the robot what to do if, I don't know, the computer freezes or the application freezes, right? So that's why we search for these kind of patterns to make our lives easier when automating, and we don't select the hardest process from the start. So let's just see the responses.
Okay, we
still have Sunny, Kate, and M&M. Well, no, we have John. Sunny is still at the first position, but Sean is actually catching up. So maybe with the third question, Sean can actually go over Sunny if Sunny doesn't answer the fastest.
Yeah, usually in the end, this leaderboard is turned around. So Sunny, hold tight to keep your position. We'll see at the end. We also have some questions in the chat. I see Tracy is answering as many as she can. I think I took like 2 of those before. So Tracy answered the questions you have regarding security aspects of the robots and the futuristic scenarios involving the security and hacks of the robots. I don't know whether Nicolas would like to comment on that. Would you like to comment on hacking robots in the future, Nicolas?
I don't want to comment on hacking robots in the future. Probably it's a scary part, but we are going to mention just a little bit or just a brief introduction on how credentials are handled. But I also see Tracy already mentioned that it's extremely secure. There's extensive information, and there are also multiple ways of handling the credentials for more security if a company needs it. We are not gonna go so deeply into those kind of things because the idea is to show these 4 sessions for beginners and actually start this journey into RPA and UiPath and not actually go through so complex things. But we can mention just other things like Tracy, and we have Tracy, and we have others MVP here like Afe that already saw, so he could also answer questions if you want to.
Okay.
I just want to ask because I think I had a few questions directly sent to me in the chat. While presenting, I'm not actually going through everything on the chat, so if you want a fast answer, just make sure to post it in the chat for everyone so others can answer.
Yes, guys, please place all your questions in the room chat for everyone to see the questions and also the answers, whether it would be me, Vibor, Afe, or Tracy, or Han answering those questions. Everyone needs to see the answers. So I think in the end, you will also have the chance during Q&A to ask questions and be answered live. So I think that would be okay. Now we will go on to the second part of the presentation.
Okay, so now we talk about what RPA is as a concept or as a technology, but now we are going to talk about UiPath specifically as an RPA solution provider. But before going into the products, we can start talking about the history of UiPath. You will have access to this for later, so we are not going to mention everything, just a little bit so you get the grasp of it. But UiPath actually started as a screen scraping company, and in 2005, UiPath was founded in Romania. Then it started working on UI automation, and on 2017, it sets its headquarters in New York City, and it started a series of investment rounds, like A, V, C, D, E, F, like a lot of investment rounds. Then by 2017, UiPath stopped being just one solution, and it was created what we now know as the core components of the UiPath solution. That is UiPath Studio, UiPath Orchestrator, and UiPath Robots. We are going to mention them. And if you actually see the rest of the years, there are a lot of other solutions and applications that UiPath has introduced, like AI Center, process mining, task mining, etc. Then by 2017, UiPath set its vision that it was to have a robot for every person. That's something that some companies are already going forward with it. Then between 2019 and 2021, Gartner and Forrester just published their Forrester Wave and their Magic Quadrant. I think 3 times or 4 times for Gartner and 3 times for Forrester. But between these 3 years of those reports, UiPath has been a leader in all of them. And then it was selected as CNBC Disruptor on 2020 in the 50s, the Cloud 100 fastest growing companies in 2020. And lately, and one of the biggest things that has happened lately is that UiPath is now a public traded company in NASDAQ. So you can actually go and buy stocks of UiPath if you want and be part of the automation journey, not only as automating, but also having shares of UiPath. And actually the mission of UiPath is to deliver the fully automated enterprise, not just automation on a basic standpoint. That is what we've been talking about up until now. Those were the robots that don't have intelligence, that they only do what we told them to do, those kind of things. But also you can now use machine learning models, artificial intelligence, you can use OCR, that's optical character recognition that it was mentioned during the HR video, and a lot of other really cool things that you can do right now. But for now, and for these 4 sessions, we're gonna just stay with the basics, because there's a lot of things to go into it if we just jump all the steps. Okay, so we mentioned that UiPath Suite has three main components. Those three main components are UiPath Studio. UiPath Studio is where we will design automations. We will have a visually automation tool that we can use drag and drop, so we don't have to do everything like coding, programming, those kind of stuff. And it says minimal use of code because there are a few kind of flavors of Studio. One that we are going to see during these 4 sessions that it's called UiPath StudioX. Another one that is just called UiPath Studio. And we will talk about just in a few slides, which is the difference between the two of them. Then we have Orchestrator. Orchestrator is like your administration central. There you will control, you will manage, you will say when the robot should run, you will store your credentials. If you want to, there are other options, but Orchestrator is like your default place to store credentials, to store configuration files, configuration values for your different robots. You can also store files. So your robots can actually go to Orchestrator and ask for files. And last but not least, we have the robots. That robots are where the actual work is done. They execute the workflows that were designed in Studio. So it's hard to find an analogy between everything, but one example that someone else mentioned, I don't want to take credit, is if we talk about emails, you have Studio, it's your screen where you are composing your email. Then you actually hit send and you have your, I don't know, Microsoft Exchange server, like it receives all the emails and it actually says, okay, this email needs to go through here, to there, or what to do with the email. And then you have the robot, that's the hard part, but let's say that an email needs to be received and read. Let's say the robot is, I don't know, the Outlook application on the computer person that needs to receive it, that actually asks for the email, receives it, and shows you all the contents, right? You're probably gonna have a few questions about this part. We're not gonna go into details about these two components. We're actually gonna go into Studio and how you will design your automations. We'll just briefly present the tool that we are gonna use through the sessions. And in the next session, you're gonna go much deeper into that and actually create your own robots, okay? So what are citizen developers, okay? I just mentioned that you have two flavors of Studio, right? Studio and StudioX. One that you need to know a little bit about coding, programming, and StudioX, that is the one that we're gonna talk about. You don't need to know any programming. You don't need to be a technical person to actually use it. And this is what citizen developers are. Actually, non-technical persons that can learn how to automate their own tasks. And we say their own task or their team tasks because we don't look into citizen developers automating the whole end-to-end processes, because it actually involves like a bigger picture, probably getting into different departments, using a lot of different applications. So when we talk about end-to-end processes, most of the times it involves a lot more work to be done or more complex things to do. So that's why we say that citizen developers automate their tasks or their team tasks, right? You have the full description here if you wanna go back when you have the slides. But basically the idea is that people that are non-technical business users, but do have, let's say, for example, a lot of experience using Excel, doing, I don't know, macros, for example. If you want here for macros, maybe you need some coding experience, but basically you know your way around technology, but you don't actually are a technical person, like a developer or an engineer, for example, right? And that's why UiPath created UiPath StudioX, right? And with StudioX, business user, what do they get? They get a no-code platform to automate, again, their task or their team tasks. And the idea is that business users also can get the benefits of automation. So they don't do the repetitive or boring parts of the work, but also because only having developers, like technical guys, doing all the automations, it makes the automation projects like take a lot more time because you have fewer people automating, right? And the people that is automating the processes don't actually know the processes, right? Because they are the technical guys. They are not the person that is actually doing the work. The citizen developers are actually doing the work. So they already have the business knowledge. They only need to get the technology knowledge. And that is the hard part by using UiPath StudioX. You don't actually need to know a lot about this kind of things because the interface that you are going to see in session 2 is actually really simple. It looks a lot like a Microsoft Office product. So if you're used to working with Excel, PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, for example, you're going to feel like home. It has a simplified interface. So using all the features that UiPath StudioX has is really easy, and it has a lot of drag and drop and a recorder. So you can record everything that's happening on screen and you don't actually have to do everything manually, right? So now we are going to do the installation of UiPath StudioX and plugins. Just hope that everything works smoothly. We have created an account from scratch, so we can do everything with you right now. You have all these steps already published in the description of the session, but just so you can check everything right now, let's go into here. Well, just.
Yeah, let's go back to the installation slide.
Yeah, I'm having this pin and I'm not actually being
no
able
worries.
to unpin it.
Okay, guys, this is the step we're going to go through right now. It's pretty important. It's the account and installation making in Automation Cloud. So please pay attention. This is the link you also had in the event link, but we're going to go through it together in the session now. So you have, let me share you again the link to Automation Cloud in chat now. Nicolas, please bear with me a moment.
Yeah, no problem.
For me to share again the link to Automation Cloud in the chat. So guys, here is the link to Automation Cloud. Just enter there. And you need to have your email address at hand. And now we're going to start doing the sign up for Automation Cloud and then installing StudioX. Nicolas, can you take us through it now, slowly?
Yep. Yeah. So basically, this is the screen that you are going to see after you go into the link that Christina has checked you. So if someone does not see this actual screen, please type it in the chat so we know that you have a problem.
Yeah, wait a bit. They're asking for community license has time-bound license. No, it is not bound. No. It is only limited in how many actions and how many bots you can use. So you can start freely and continue as a citizen developer on a community license, no worries.
The only thing to consider with community licenses is that whenever UiPath releases a new version, the community automatically updates to the new version. Just take that into consideration, but you can use it for whatever time you want. And of course, not for commercial projects.
Okay, so guys, everyone has the link open. Can we start? Are you in the Automation Cloud? Okay, let's go through the steps now. Nicolas, slowly.
Yeah, so we go into the website, we go into sign up with email. We're gonna go and do it with an email and create an account, but I see that someone says that it has problem accessing. But you can also sign up with Google, Microsoft, or LinkedIn. We are gonna do it through email because it's the only one that's different. This one are like logging into any other software that requires login with Google, Microsoft, or LinkedIn. Okay, so we press sign up with email. We should put an organization name, and we are gonna put RPA Summer School 1. We have the second one, just in case you wanna create it. We're gonna put the first name, it's going to be RPA Summer School. Country, I'm gonna put just Uruguay because I'm Uruguay. And now we're gonna put the email, and we're gonna set a password. Just a password, okay. So we need something else, one uppercase. Okay. We put here a password. Here we have the checks that we need to comply. It
Nicholas,
has to have 8 characters. Yeah.
Stop a bit. Okay. So no, you don't need, I see people are asking whether they need to use the same credentials as we do. No, guys, do not use the same credentials. This is a dummy account we are using for the demo. You need to put your own credentials. So you can just choose like any organization name. You can put your own names there or choose a generic organization name. You can use a dummy name for the community license if you want, or put your organization name as in the company you work for. And you can either use a personal email address or a company email address, but it needs to be your credential, your account. So do not use the same credentials as you see taught during this demo, please, because we cannot use, this is not a multiple user account. So just make your own accounts. Yes, your own organization name, first name, last name, country, email, and then you set your own passwords. We're going to go in and then wait like 2 minutes for you to have the account set up before we move on to the next step in downloading StudioX. I hope everyone got that about the unique credentials. Just tell me in chat that you did so, please.
And if you don't know what to put in organization name, in my example, for my personal user, I just have my surname with an N for Nicholas at the start. So you can put anything for the organization name, just this only can be once used. So you cannot not actually create 2 organizations with the same name. So, okay, I think that everyone is saying that it's done. Hopefully it's done without these credentials. Okay. But if you use them, you are not going to be able to verify the email. So you're not going to be able to go forward it, but
you're not going to be able to, because we don't know, you don't know the password. So yeah, don't do this, use your own credentials. If you already did the account, set up the account according to the directions we gave in the email before the session or in the event link, then you just need to open Studio afterwards. Yes, you don't need to do anything now, but we just promised that we will do this demo for everyone to install StudioX together, yeah, during the session. Okay, we're going to move on.
Yeah, and we can also show what happens if you already have an account, but you need to download Studio. I can show that with my own account, just because you need to click in a different part here, but let me show that to you. So here we complete all the data, we set a password, we check that it complies with all the requirements. We agree with the license terms. You probably wanna read the license terms, not right now because we are using the community and you can trust us. But if you're gonna go forward with, then you should probably read always the license terms. And you can check if you want to receive information or not. I want to hit just sign up, just save this one.
Check that you want to receive information. Please check you want to receive it.
So we have the, so we have the email. I'm just gonna approve this part. I need to go to the email and just actually check for that. Still haven't received it. Okay, now I have the email. The email just look like this. You don't actually have to do anything, just hit verify email.
Yeah, it's like with any other, app, you need to verification for email.
Yeah, so here it goes, does the verification, does the login, and it actually already logged us in. Let's just do all little checkups. Submit the form. Well,
this takes a bit of time, but that's good because everyone
yeah,
can
the first
catch up.
time. Okay, so the first time that you create your account and you come here into your automation cloud, you're gonna see this download UiPath Studio button. And if you actually check what it was mentioned in the steps, the first one was signing up that we just did. Then we just need to hit that blue button that says download StudioX, right? So here we click download StudioX. I'm just gonna cancel it because I already have it downloaded and it takes a little bit of time. So what I'm gonna do is just go to downloads. I have the installer here. The only thing that you need to do is just hit double click. And this is going to do the whole installation process. You don't actually need to do much more. Just after it's installed, you need to select something, but let's just wait for it to install. Here you will see this screen while it's installing.
During this, can we answer 2 questions?
Yeah.
We have so after the installing is done, perhaps you can explain a bit the difference between Studio and StudioX, because people are asking that question. You will be able, guys, to see that during the installation now, and Nicolas will tell you what that's all about, the difference between the 2 programs. So StudioX is the no-code program for citizen developers. It is actually meant for you. It is designed for someone with absolutely no technological background and no coding experience. It is easy to use. We have another person asking whether they can download for Linux.
Okay, so right now we are not able to use, well, right now and for now at least that we know, UiPath only works on Windows. This is because it's a solution created with Microsoft background. So we are only able to use it on Windows, but on Mac, you can use it if you use, for example, Parallels, or of course, then you need to go into virtualization, but that's a more technical feature. But for Mac, I'll say the best option would be to use Parallels.
Yeah, for Linux, we didn't provide any information.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we have a blog post in the UiPath website that talks a little bit about how using UiPath on Mac.
We already gave that. You have that in the event link and the pre-session email. Guys, you have the disclaimer for the Mac OS users and what you need to do to download and use StudioX on Mac OS. But Linux is something different. So we did not expect to have like Linux users in this session because Linux is usually for very technical backgrounds. I mean, usually technical people use Linux. So I'm sorry about that, but we will try to supply that answer in the follow-up and add it as a disclaimer on the event link page. So thank you for the question, Andres.
I think Vivo just pasted a PDF that does a comparison between Studio and StudioX.
Mm-hmm.
And we can actually show it a little bit just to actually say. Just, well, remember, Han, what you mentioned about having a problem with this installation? Yeah, no, it's installing, Just don't believe me. I should see the bar download that it was like 90%.
That's good.
Okay, so after UiPath finish installing, you're gonna see this blue screen. You don't actually need to do much more things than actually signing in. You already have the URL. You don't need to change this. This is the URL of the cloud account that you just created your user on. Okay, you just hit sign in. That is going to open you here. Since you are already logged in the browser, because I already have this logged in, it just asks me if I want to open UiPath. If, for example, let's say you are using one browser to do everything like this, but your default browser in your computer is not the same, this is going to ask you to log in with the credentials that you just created, okay? But just put your email, your password, and then it's gonna ask you the same that it's asking here. Do you want to let this website open UiPath? Okay, so you just hit open link, and this is going to start loading. It says that it's connected with the account RPA Summer School, rpasummerschool@gmail.com. It's just going to take a little while after it loads some things. And okay, here, remember that I just mentioned that we had UiPath Studio and UiPath StudioX. You also have something called Studio Pro, but this is just some extra features besides the one you have in Studio, but it's the same actual application. You actually have the same look and feel, the same tools. You just actually, you have like other features like testing features to do test automation, but we are not going to go much deep into that, but I know that someone asks that during the session. If you want to do test automation, you need UiPath Studio Pro, but it looks the same as UiPath Studio. It's actually the same application. It only allows you some other functionalities, okay? But here at this screen, you need to choose UiPath StudioX as profile, okay? This is the profile that we are gonna use during the sessions. And don't bother, it's not a huge problem. You can actually go and change it back into Studio Pro, or even back to StudioX if you want to just look at it. I'm gonna show it to you right now, okay? So we select StudioX, and this is actually opening for the first time. So probably on your computer, it's going to take a little bit more time than on mine, because I just deleted it and installed it again. So I have some things already downloaded. But there are a few things that it installs and downloads the first time that you install UiPath. I already have them. That's why it took just a little bit of time. So don't worry if it takes a few minutes. Maybe it depends on your computer and those kind of things. So the first time that you open UiPath, you're gonna see this screen. So you can watch a short introduction video on UiPath StudioX. You can go into tutorials, or you can go into Academy, but Christina is gonna mention a little bit about Academy at the end, so don't worry. Here we just hit close. And this is how the first screen, the start screen of StudioX looks. If by mistake you selected profile that it's not StudioX, maybe you select the Studio or Studio Pro, you can change that back. It's going to look a little bit different like this, but you can go into settings, license and profile, and you can hit view or change profile, okay? And you can go into StudioX. Just make sure that this color is the same as this and it's not blue. If it's blue, it's because you selected Studio or Studio Pro, okay? Just make sure you have this. And if you selected one of the other ones, just go into settings, license and profile, viewer change, and just select UiPath StudioX, okay? So I'm just gonna minimize this, and we have it here. Again, you will have access to everything on the slides, the recording, and you also have this part already in the description of the session, okay? So what are the main features or scenarios that we can automate with UiPath StudioX. Okay, so the first features that we have are, we have project templates for a quick start. So you don't need to start from scratch. Let's say you want to automate a process and you don't know how to start. You need to, I don't know, it's your first automation. Instead of starting with a blank screen, you can start with a template that is going to be a lot easier for you because it's going to have all the, how to say, like the best practices already set up for that project, okay? You also have native integrations with Microsoft Office that say Outlook, Outlook 365, that's Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Word, etc. You also have integration with Gmail Plus, and you have special support for SAP if you work with it. So all the other applications are used in the same way. So if you use a browser or if you use a desktop application, it doesn't matter which browser or which website you're accessing it, or it doesn't matter which desktop application you use. UiPath StudioX is going to work with that in the same way. But if you use one of these applications, you have like direct integration with it. So it's a lot easier to work with them, okay? You also have what is called a project notebook. It's basically an Excel file that it's integrated with your UiPath Studio project, your automation project. So things that you don't know how to do in UiPath StudioX, you can do it in Excel. There's a way of, I don't know, let's say you want to do simple things of extracting data from cells or from information, you know, the left, right, mid, or I don't know, VLOOKUP or those kind of things. There are a lot of things that you can do on Excel that you can put here in your project notebook, and then you can reutilize that in UiPath StudioX. Not everything that you can do on Excel, but most of the things. You also have scenarios that, let's say you need to work with a Word template and complete data going from an Excel. You have a template, scenario for that. Let me just show you a little bit. You have here complete Word template from Excel and email, create PowerPoint presentations, create rich HTML email, and a lot of other ones. So these are scenarios for common automations that you can do with StudioX. And again, you have those predefined, so you have the best practices already put into there. And the tool also lets you have an intuitive error handling. So you can, as it said there, skip, retry, stop, actually check why your robot is failing or why your robot gets stuck. And here it says, hey, it happens. Of course, it happens to all of us, to the first of us. All robots need some error handling. We need to actually check that automations work smoothly. We need to run it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 10 times to actually make sure that everything is okay. And it's gonna fail sometimes. StudioX has some tools that would allow us to handle those errors in a more intuitive way, in a simple way. So we don't have much problem understanding why the robots are failing, okay? So I think we have a lot of questions. We are almost at the Q&A session. So if there's any complicated or long question that needs answer, we can answer that live in a few minutes. But before that, we are gonna do a simple automation that this automation that we're gonna do is going to be explained in session 2, okay? So right now, the only thing that we are gonna do is actually do the automation and run it so you can see how easy it is to build a simple automation. But just try to watch it. Don't try to follow it in your own StudioX because this is something that you are gonna do in session 2. In session 2, they are going to explain how to do it and why it's done in that way, okay? So let me just
session
before this.
Guys, session 2 will be this Thursday. Please go in program page and RSVP to the other sessions, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to be able to log into the content of session 2 after you RSVP. So this is just a demo now. You just need to watch what Nicolas is doing just to get some of the magic of automation and see how it works. This is the purpose of this demo now, not for you to actually do it. You are going to perform actually this automation yourselves in session 2. So you're going to start fresh and perform it yourselves. And this is going actually to be your first bot in session 2. So let's just pay attention to Nicolas a bit now, so you can see the very first automation being done.
Okay, so here again, we open, I'm gonna go just to blank task. I'm gonna go from scratch. I'm gonna put the name, it's going to be unicorn name RPA school. I'm gonna go create. And what's the process that we wanna automate? It's just go into this website, just put our name, select the month that we were born, select get unicorn name, that's gonna create a unicorn name, and we wanna get that name and actually show it to us, okay? Again, the first time that you hit blank task or any other template task, the first time after installation, it's probably gonna take a little bit of time, but here it's telling everything that it's doing. Just make sure that these messages are changing. Okay, so I'm gonna use Edge, Microsoft Edge. So there's something that we want to mention you right now, that it's when you work with browsers, UiPath has direct integration with Internet Explorer, but if you want to use other browsers, you need to install an extension. Okay, so let's say I want to work with Microsoft Edge that it's not installed by default. What we're gonna do is, sorry, let me do here. We will go to Home. We will go to Tools, and in Tools we are going to install what we need to install. Okay, so let's say I want to work with Edge. I'm just gonna go Edge and installing the UiPath extension. Please close all your Edge processes. So I'm gonna close Edge and I'm gonna hit OK. But the extension was successfully installed. For the current user, you need to enable the browser extension by going to extensions and browsers. I think that I already had it installed, the extension, so I shouldn't need to do anything. Okay, the first time that I open it, it asked me to enable the extension. So I'm just gonna hit enable. And now you will see this UiPath button here that it says that you have the extension for web automation in Microsoft Edge. You'll do the same for Chrome or Firefox, whatever the browser that you want to use. And this Excel add-in should be installed by default. You're going to see Excel automation in, I think, session 3. So don't worry about it now. So right now we install the extension for Edge. We go into Start. Here we have the project. So the first thing that I want to do is open browser. I want to indicate automation. So here I'm going to go to unicorn name. I'm going to use this browser. After this, I want to put my name. I say that my name is Nicolas. Just put Nicolas. And then we want to do item. Then we want to select the month that we were born. Hit here. Just wait for confirmation. I'm gonna select the month, and the month I was born was in January. So we put that. Then we want to do a click. Just let's click get unicorn name. So now I'm gonna complete it so I get the response. So it's Nicholas, select January, get unicorn name. So here we have the name. So I want to do is here. Just put this one, confirm. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's run it just so we can see what happens, and then we'll finish it. So now I just go and hit play. So the row started, it opened the browser, it typed my name, it selected January, and it get the unicorn name, and it finished, okay? So the last thing that I wanna do is, after we get that thing, we wanna actually show it. So I wanna show that as a message, and I wanna go from clipboard. So if we run it one more time, we now are gonna get, after typing everything, we're gonna get a message from UiPath saying my unicorn name. Get unicorn name, config crystal dazzler. And here I have a message box that actually says my name, okay?
And can you tell us the name?
It's, yeah, it was confetti crystal dazzler.
Confetti crystal really dazzler.
Yeah, with a dash between crystal and dazzler.
That's a great,
really cool name, I think.
Very, very
I don't know.
Cool. Yeah.
I think that someone is asking, is the orchestrator the same as automation anywhere control room? If by the same we talk about if it's the part where we handle the credentials and we administrate the solution, yes. But UiPath Orchestrator does a lot of other things and integrates with other UiPath solutions. So it actually does more things, but we'll need to get into the other products and the other solution that UiPath has to actually show the difference. So we're not gonna get into that. But before finishing, as you see, it's just really simple. It took us just a little steps and a little bit of time to make that automation. So the last thing that we want to do is show the last Menti part. So
guys, so pay attention now. Go again to menti.com, or if you still have it open, go there. Yeah. This is the code.
If you remember, yeah, if we remember, we had Sunny on the first part and John actually moved up to the second part, just really close of Sunny. But you also have a lot of people really close, Sean and Sunny. So let's make sure that you win.
Okay, guys, I placed again in the chat the link and the code. Go to menti.com. We're going.
I think we see that we already have 261 people. So
yeah, so let's start the question then. This is the final question of the quiz. So we will have our final winners, first 3 positions of the leaderboard after this question. Pay attention.
I should see users going up, so let's just probably wait a few seconds.
Okay, we'll wait up a bit.
Still changing.
This question will be a bit harder since it will be from StudioX and a bit tricky. You have you needed to pay attention to the presentation to answer correctly. I think it is again, we can say an exception answer.
Yeah, exactly. An exception
So
answer.
make sure
you actually will need to choose the only thing that StudioX doesn't have between the responses, right? So just a few tips, a few spoilers from the question. We are still going up. We are in 241. Let's just wait 2 more seconds. Okay, so it hasn't changed. So we're gonna go with the question.
Okay, guys, pay attention. So which of this is not one of the main features of UiPath StudioX? Functional project templates, use machine learning and AI, intuitive error handling. Which one of them is not in StudioX? I think it's a
actually scared. Yeah, it was too complicated. I think the 74 responses for intuitive error handling actually make that. So if you remember the screen that we presented, let me just show it again, the part of the main features. We had that the main features do include project templates, do include an intuitive error handling system in the tool, but it doesn't include using machine learning and AI, right? So again, just to recap, we have project templates, we have scenarios-based automations, we have some native integrations, we have a way of actually moving our Excel knowledge into StudioX, and we have intuitive error handling.
Yeah, no, I think for this question, we have a very fair quota in the answer for the difficulty of the question and the StudioX part. So whoever got it wrong, guys, don't worry. Yes, it was a bit of a difficult question because it was the last one. But then you're going to, by the end of this week, you're going to know everything there is to know about StudioX, especially after session 2. It's a very easy tool to use. And
Let's see what happened. Oh, Andy won.
I thought Sunny maintained the position. I was just ready.
So congrats to Andy for the first position and John and LP for the second and third position.
Okay.
LP and John came really close.
Andy, John, and LP, congrats for being the winners of our free question quiz for session 1. I'm going to drop my email in the chat. Just drop me an email tomorrow or after the session now saying I'm the winner for the quiz in session 1 from RPA Summer School, and I'm going to send you the prize. And don't, guys, no one else should try that because we have the recording. Tell that, I don't know.
We don't want to go check. We don't gonna go back to check it. We're gonna trust them, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good at background checks, so I'm going for sure to know who Andy LP are. Just to be sure, Andy, John, and LP, you can also write in chat now and present yourselves with your formal emails so no one can deny.
Hope it's not a bot, says Vignesh.
No, it's not a bot.
No, it's not a bot.
Because I think you can automate Menti. Okay,
so to finish, we have the Q&A. So
yeah, I'm gonna unmute everyone now. Allow participants to unmute. So guys, anyone who wants, we're not going to have too much time, I'm sorry. We're just going to take like 10 minutes for questions now. Sorry, it took a bit longer, but I think everyone had to gain from that. So just unmute yourselves. You can do that now and please ask away. So can we have a first question? Like, does it work? Because I allowed you to unmute.
So I just have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello,
yeah.
Andrea.
Hi, how are you? So I just wanted to check to see before the next session, is there anything that we should focus on or review beforehand? Or is everything going to be through the sessions?
I'm going to share you right after the Q&A now a link from Academy, and also I'm going to be sending a pre-session email tomorrow with everything that you need to focus on.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so that's great. Thank you.
It's actually going to be a merge between a follow-up email to this session and a pre-session email for the second session, because we're going to take you from session to session with the help of these emails. But again, everyone who just went into program page and hit register, go at the bottom of the page and RSVP to all the 4 sessions of the program if you want to be able to access the content of the full program. And during these 3 weeks, at the bottom of the page of the program page, RPA Summer School, you will find all the 4 sessions there, and you can click on events, RSVP, and you'll have them in your calendar.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do.
Hello,
Hi.
what's your name?
My name is Fifi, and I want to ask the question. If somebody is studying about the studio, does it worth to basically learn about StudioX too? Is there any benefit for somebody who understands some programming, who is like, yeah, I also want to learn the studio to learn StudioX?
So basically for that, I would say like, if you know Studio and you can learn to use Studio, you're gonna be able to do more automations. But on the other hand, you may want to use or to learn StudioX if, I don't know, your friends, company, co-workers or something are going to use StudioX. Because with StudioX, you're going to do simple automations, but you're probably gonna automate them faster than using Studio, because in Studio, you will need to do more things or more complex things. For example, if you check Han, Tracy, Afed, that it's also here, and me, we both do know about both Studio and StudioX. So there is a benefit in knowing the 2 of them, but not from an actual automation standpoint. Then if you use Studio, just actually stay with Studio. But if you are joining these sessions, just remember not to miss the next ones, because they are going to be really fun. And maybe you should learn a little bit about StudioX. If someone then asks you a question, you just know a little bit and you can help them out.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Hi,
yes.
Habib. Yep.
So we created a little automated process locally on one of the machines, but we want to make it available for other people as well, the same process. I don't understand it right now, or how is it going to work? Is that going to be explained here, or can you give me a quick hint? What does it take, or would we have to reprogram the whole thing?
So I don't know if Hannah or Tracy want to answer that. If not, I can answer it, but.
About publishing the automations?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tracy.
So I don't know if you guys are covering that content, but we'll go, I would assume that you guys would cover the publishing of automations, where you guys would cover that ability. So publishing, so what we would cover with Studio is the development environment. It's the tool that you would use to build your automation, and making that automation available to run on another environment is called publishing. You don't have to have that development environment on another machine in order for it to be published there. So you could take a brand new completely different machine, although you do want to have something, you know, relatively close. I mean, you do want to have similar, say, screen size, resolution, screen resolution, that type of thing. You don't want to stray too far from it, but you don't have to have Studio installed there. So I would hope that we would cover some of the basics in the future sessions about that.
So for the RPA Summer School program, our focus is on the StudioX users. So in our future session, we mostly cover how do you develop or create an automation in StudioX. For example, in session 2, you learn about UI or user interface automation. Session 3, you learn about Excel and Word automation. So we, like Nicholas covered earlier in the PowerPoint, for this particular program, we don't discuss the topic of orchestrator and robot. But on the Academy link that we provided in this slide, you can see other courses that can show you how to publish the project to the orchestrator and how to deploy a process and how other people can use it.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you will have other tools like UiPath Assistant to actually run that automation in another computer. So Christina is going to show all about Academy and mention about a little bit and give you the link so you have access to it. But probably we'll have time for one more question.
Yes,
Hi, can I have?
Yes, Johan.
Can I ask a question? Hi. I normally use UiPath for the automation hub. So we record our RPAs. Practically, when I'm trying to download the StudioX, I'm only having the availability of the Studio. I'm controlled by security from our company, so I cannot download. What way forward should I take? Should I speak to our security first to open this download? But practically, the screen is totally different. So when I use your link, I'm going into our automation hub. I have the download of the button to download the Studio, and then it's totally different. Should I use a different, maybe PC, or so I can follow the session too?
So for that, you should probably contact your security team in your company, because, or probably if you go into what we just did in the installation process, just create an account with your personal email, and you should be able to do the same as we did in the session.
Okay.
And you will be able to download that. To use it on a corporate level, on an enterprise side, you probably need to talk to security, because there are policies. So the company actually chooses what you are able to download on, or what you are able to use in some configuration things. So for that, I should probably recommend like going through the community version as we did in the video. But if you want to be safe and sure, probably just tell your security team what you're going to do, just so there are no red flags coming from your team.
Thank you. Okay, excellent. And thank you for the session. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Johan.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, I see guys are signing up for the other sessions. I just want to remind everyone, even if the sessions are not in their time zones, like probably this session also was, but a lot of people joined, you must RSVP to access the content afterwards. So the program is also self-paced. You will be able to access the recording and the exercise packs in the sessions if you RSVP. And we will also have a second module starting August 24th, when we will try to reverse the time zones of the session, and then you will be able to join live too. So I think we can conclude on the Q&As now if no one else has like a very good question to ask for.
I have a question.
Okay,
Christina, can I ask a very quick question?
Okay,
sure.
Then Giovanna, you go first, and then we'll take the other question, and then we'll close the Q&A.
Sure. I was just wondering if Nicholas could talk to the credibility of the RPA certification from an industry perspective, whether or not it's worth it, or, you know, just what are your thoughts on?
You mean the certification you gain in academy from the academy courses, StudioX?
Yes, yes, exactly.
And why wouldn't it be credible?
I was just wondering if it's very common to find people that have that certification, if it's almost like an industry standard, or if it's unlikely.
You mean the courses or the actual UiPath certification?
The actual UiPath certification, like becoming a certified professional.
Okay, so I don't know, I can comment on my experience, on my view, and maybe Hannah or Tracy can comment on their views just to give you a more broad example. But I do think that it's just right now the only way that you have to actually explain what knowledge you have. Like the certification is the only thing that you have, besides of course your experience, and you can showcase like doing some trainings, or if they sent you something to, I don't know, for you to automate to go into a job session. But lately I've been seeing like most of the recruitment proposals that are there for RPA developers actually request having the certification. So I would say like maybe up until 2020, I haven't seen much, or most of the proposals said that it would be a nice to have, but they didn't actually require it. But right now, I'm actually seeing like most of them require the certification. So I would say that it's a really, I'll say, I mentioned authorized certification, and people are actually do value that you have it.
So just to mention is like, I think you asked whether it is a standard for the RPA developers, like, because this session is for citizen developers. And at this level, of course, like we have the certification system in Academy for citizen developers, which is completely free. And no, actually, it's not a common thing to have. It will be a very unique thing to have in a workforce, like to have those certifications and the experience of that training, because it's let's say a very futuristic skill to have right now. And you were asking for the RPA developer workforce, like to be employed as an RPA developer, and whether that would be a standard in a CB. And yes, I think that is, and Nicholas answered that. So let's Tejari, I'm sorry if I sorry. The next question, and then yeah.
Yeah, I would like to ask, like, I'm learning something from Academy. Like, we have 155 courses in the Academy. I would like to build my career in RPA. I mean, I have a coding experience as well as a developer. But coming into RPA, we have like 155 courses. Now I'm confused where to start. Just now I've seen the session in LinkedIn. That's where I've joined to the summer school. So can I know how to start up, like how to get into this properly, like in those 155 courses, how to figure it out, like what I should go to, like starting, I've gone through introduction to RPA, which you have suggested to come into this course. So I just gone through that, and now I'm confused, like where to go into, like where to start properly.
I just pasted the link in the chat now, which takes you to the RPA starter course. It's the next level from the intro in RPA.
Okay.
And I think, Nicholas, I think since we are closing the Q&A, I can take on the share screen for now.
Yeah, I should stop my share screen.
Yeah, I'm going to show you guys now that. So I placed the link there, and now I'm going to show you where that takes you. So this is actually the next step you can take from this session, except joining our next session. Actually going through the 4 sessions of the RPA Summer School, it's really helpful because the content is a bit condensed and really taken to beginner level and also taught live. So that helps a lot. This is the Academy platform. I left you the link in the chat, so you guys can click on that link and go to Academy. This is the entire platform. If you wish to see all the courses we have to offer, you simply go here. It's a very easy to use platform. The courses are filled with good content and video content. You choose, for example, look, I checked here. As you can see, there are a lot of courses, but you can go to category here. Just click RPA Starter, and it will take you to these two courses. This one is the one I gave you in the email and the event link, and we covered it entirely today. And we also went to this one today as well. For the next step, you can go into this one, finish RPA Starter, which will take you like 4 hours, because of course that's common learning pace and it's not condensed. And then we can also, the next thing you should do is like Citizen Developer Foundation. Actually, let's see on StudioX.
No, you have filtered for RPA Starter, I think.
Yeah, this is what I was.
You can see it in the learning by role. If you go up to the top, the learning by role.
Yeah.
Then it's there, because I've been trying to figure it out too. I'm so overwhelmed by the number of classes.
So this is the one, RPA Citizen Developer Foundation. You can see I have it 91% completed.
Almost there.
Almost there, yeah. I am there, but I don't know what happened. So if you go into it, you will see that this is the entire course which actually teaches you StudioX. So it has a lot of modules. It takes you through all the automations in StudioX, and all of it in a very, very nice space and with a lot of example exercise packs. So I would say that once you completed the Citizen Developer Foundation, you can actually develop in StudioX. So this would be the next point for you. After each of these modules in Academy comes with a completion diploma, yeah, and with a badge. You have a certificate you can get on email. This is the very next step that I advise you to take, the RPA Starter. You have the link in the chat for the meeting, and you can click on that, and up to the next session, you can check it out, the RPA Starter. And yeah, I hope this answers your question. And of course, then you can continue and build your learning path in Academy. You will see you can choose and build a learning path. And then probably onwards, you can go to official RPA developer certification.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for organizing this session as well.
I think it usually takes like, Nicholas, what would you say, like 1 year, 2 years to get to that level?
Yeah, I think like you have two certifications now, the one for actual RPA developer advanced, and the other one is for all RPA roles. But I do think like probably between 1 and 2 years to actually go through the certification. But if you do all the learning by role for developer and developer advanced, it's over 100 hours, I think. You can probably tackle on the certification, but it's better if you have around everything, all the courses, and between 6 months and a year of actual experience, because most of the questions actually require not knowledge by memory, but actually doing the things to actually remember what to answer.
And also, one suggestion would be that when you are doing these courses, please do not skip any module or any exercises, because this is what I hear from many people. When they skip some exercises, basically, you miss that part, and then it will be difficult to catch up. So don't miss anything.
Yeah, I can testify that I skipped a lot of things and it was really hard.
Yeah, because there is a point where like certain automation projects get hard, and probably there is that thing that not all of them come out in the first trial, but then you just need to keep at it, and like second or third time usually they come out and you can run the bots. So, and you get the satisfaction from running the bot. Believe me, you really do after you work an hour on it. Okay, we're going to conclude the Q&A now. So thank you guys for the questions. I'm just going to briefly present you. So I presented you already with Academy. This is our space and our platform, which empowers you to grow as a professional and reach new heights in the digital era by providing latest study materials on RPA and on, of course, on UiPath products. As you have seen, it's a very complex and easy to use platform. You can freely go there and explore. It's an independent platform of UiPath. Now we're going to go on to what is next. So you will have, starting tomorrow, the content from this session uploaded and it will be on video, and you will have as well the presentation uploaded on the event link, and everyone who has RSVP will be able to access it. So if you want to share it with others, you will be able to. Then this Thursday, next Thursday on BST time zone, this time not on EDT, we will have the session 2 where you will learn yourselves to make that very first automation and run your UI automation, the unicorn name bot, and also 2 other automations. This will be done with our colleagues Nidi and Afe, the other 2 MVPs which are joining us for this program. Then what we would advise you to do is go to our platform, explore community at uipath.com. So this is our platform. You have, of course, this is the summer school. You will find it here in Academy, the program. But then we also have like the whole platform where you can find resources, forum, blog, and all of these contributors. And you have here like chapters, and you can go and join the citizen developer chapter. I think you can check here for the citizen developer chapter. Such a chapter. Let's see if it comes out. If not, I'm going.
It's down.
Yeah. So this is our citizen developer chapter, the chapter which is actually aimed and designed for you. Here you will see coming up all the citizen developer events. So events that are meant for this level, StudioX level. And if you join this chapter, you will have access to all updates and be able to join any future events worldwide for citizen developers. So I really recommend you to join this chapter if you haven't yet. Many of you already did, I know that, because we have seen the statistics. And also we have this link, which I'm also going to take and copy in chat, which is a forum thread and topic on StudioX. And there, if you go on that, you will be able to find a lot of things which can help you. And you can ask questions on StudioX further. There is a tag created in forum. Let me show you what forum is. Just keep that link handy. The forum is like, so if we go to resources, this is our forum, which is actually the platform where our entire community interacts and helps each other. We have here threads for all levels, like expert, beginner, and we have this. We have the StudioX thread, which I'm going to paste now. So you can see all the StudioX topics lined up here. You can search for these topics with any questions you have. And also you can ask you can open a new topic and just select RPA Summer School tag. And all of your questions will be centralized according to this tag, and our trainers will be able to see them. Yes, so go on forum, go on the link I gave you in chat. If you have any questions, just click, remember to add here this tag, RPA Summer School tag, and write down your topic and your question and just create it. If you have any that you do not find in the previous step. First, I would advise you to go through the StudioX topic and just search it. So I think that's about it. I told you everything. You're going to receive an email tomorrow, which will also conclude on this session and as well welcome you to session 2 and tell you whether there are any prerequisites you need for session 2. And of course, it's time to say goodbye, and we're very glad to have met you, and we're very glad to have had you here in such a great number. We hope this helped. We hope now all of you know a bit more about RPA and see that it's very accessible, and at least that you're excited perhaps to go into StudioX starting with session 2. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Afe. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Han. And of course, Bibor, my colleague from the UiPath community team. We are here anytime at community@uipath.com or community.uipath.com to access our platform and explore what community has to offer. So don't be afraid to explore that. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now. And